Hey, it's Emily, and today I'm going to be tier ranking one of my favourite authors of all time, Agatha Christie. I'm just going to say now, I haven't read all her books. I'm nowhere near. So we've got about 26 to discuss today. Pretty much all books. You'll see what I mean when we come to it. But yeah, I'm going to try tier ranking for the first time. Yeah, I'll walk you through my kind of tier levels because they're all Agatha Christie quotes, okay? So let me just set up my laptop and yeah, let's just jump in to the tier ranking. Okay, so let's just run through the tiers I have. At the top, I have Everyone Said Follow Your Heart. I did, it got broken. And these are my absolute favourites, the ones that actually hit me in the feels, the ones that I actually were like, wow, they're like my faves. I know that quote can be used at the bottom, but I just, honestly, going through Agatha Christie's quotes to find one that would hit the top, it was quite hard. So then we have Tea, Bless Ordinary Everyday Afternoon Tea, which is the one books that, you know, they were great. They were not absolutely amazing, not my favourites, but they were great. Then we have Very Few of Us Are What We Seem. This is like a few plot twists that I didn't see coming. They're good, still like 3.54 stars from me, but not great. Then we go down, we have I Don't Know at All, and That's What's Frightening the Life Out of Me. But I ran out of space on the actual thing. These are books I'm not too sure on. They're kind of like meh, like five, definitely not 5 stars, 3 stars. Like I'm a bit like, I'm not sure how I feel about them, but I still kind of enjoy it, like they're okay. Then at the bottom we have Why Shouldn't I Hate Her? I think the quote is like, why shouldn't I hate her? She did the worst thing anyone can ever do. She made me feel like I was loved or something like that. So that's the bottom one, and I'm just going to say I don't hate any Agatha Christie book, but there is one in particular that I can think of that will be going in that tier. But hate is a strong word. I was finding a quote from Agatha Christie to use as the tier. Okay, so with that, let's just jump straight on in. So the first one we have, they're pretty much I think in alphabetical order. Like I said, I've read about 25 books, and then one bonus thing down in here. So first one we're going to tackle is And Then There Were None, which is one of my favourites, I'm not going to lie. Tempted to go straight up into the top because, do you know what? Oh, that didn't even work. There we go. And Then There Were None. Everyone said follow your heart. I did. It broke it. So this was my first Agatha Christie's ever. Absolutely adored it. Was absolutely fantastic. Beautiful. It's like the classic closed circle murder mystery. I rewatched the BBC adaptation, like the 3-part adaptation, with a friend this weekend, and it was his first Agatha Christie experience, and he told me like a few days later, he was like, it's stuck in my brain, like I've been thinking about it. So have to applaud Agatha Christie on that one. Next up we have Appointment with Death. It's another, I love it, but I think that's going to go in Tea, Bless Ordinary Afternoon Tea, because, oh, I don't know actually, or is it just Very Few of Us Are What We Seem? I love the TV adaptation of this, the one with like, is it Tim Curry? Tim Curry? One of my faves. And I just love it when Agatha sets them abroad. I just love one of the foreign settings. They're some of my favourite ones, as you might be able to tell as the video goes on. Next up we have Crooked House. Is that another top tier? No, we got to put it in Tea, Bless. See, we're starting off high. We're getting off on a great start. This one I absolutely adored. It's just a general mystery from Agatha Christie, like it's not Poirot or Miss Marple. I've actually only read one Miss Marple, I apologise. But Crooked House, I loved the movie, which I saw like not realising it was an Agatha Christie like ages ago before I was properly into her. And yeah, I just loved it, so I read it and I gave it 5 stars, or apparently I did. I posted onto my personal Instagram saying I gave this book 5 stars, I highly recommend. Or maybe it was like a Snapchat that I had a memory pop up the other day. Anyway, either way, I posted somewhere on my like personal life saying I gave it 5 stars. But when I was going through Goodreads earlier to like make the list of all the ones I've read, I only gave it 4 on Goodreads. But then to me it is a 5 star, and I posted about it being a 5 star. I also read it in a day, which helped. So I loved Crooked House, and the first time I saw it / read it, I didn't know what was going on. I did not guess the plot twist. Then we have Death on the Nile. We're still hitting it off with these bangers. Death on the Nile. I'm going to put in T as well. This is like the most boring video ever because I've loved all of these so far. These are just Chef's Kiss, Death on the Nile. I did love the movie adaptation, however David Suchet is my Poirot. Like, he's the only one I can ever imagine being Poirot. The twists, I didn't see them all coming. There's a few of them in there. I'm just saying, I love this one, and it's a longer one actually. It's one of Agatha Christie's longer ones that I've read, but highly recommend. And I have the special edition because it's stunning. I have multiple editions, but we're not going to talk about that because that's an issue for another time. Then we have Evil Under the Sun. I'm putting that in very few of us are what we seem. I have fond memories of it, but it didn't blow me away. Another one I absolutely love the adaptation of with David Suchet, like the TV adaptation, but yeah, like I said, nothing too special. It didn't blow me away, but I still enjoyed it. Like, I have fond memories. They're all positive in my brain. Now we're going to jump onto Five Little Pigs. Okay, this is, for some reason, and I have no explanation for this, it is going up into Everyone Said Follow Your Heart, I Did, It Broke Me, or it got broken. This is like one of my favourite Agatha Christie's ever, and I don't even know why, because it wasn't absolutely amazing, but the TV adaptation, oh, I love it. For some reason, this is just one of my favourites that have just stuck with me, and I could reread it, and I've rewatched the episode multiple times. I just love this one. I don't know why. Someone explain to me because I can't. This one is about this artist and he's like poisoned, but there's like betrayal and like, oh, it's just, I don't know why I love it so much. And the way Poirot is like used in this one is different from all the others because it's like kind of dual timeline, I suppose, and it was, I just loved it. I just loved it. Take a bow, Agatha Christie. Take a bow, Aggie C. Then we have Hercule Poirot's Christmas. I'm toying between I don't know at all, and very few of us are what we seem. I'm going to put it in I don't know at all, and that's what's frightening the life out of me, because I can't really remember this one too much. I sort of remember it. It's sort of like a closed circle murder mystery again, but I just remember reading it around Christmas time, having a good time, but I can't remember much like about the twists. So with that, I think it should go in I don't know at all. Then we've got Lord Edgware Dies, another one I'm just going to chuck in I don't know at all. This is like the one I have the least memory of, and I can't tell you why. It clearly just didn't stick with me. I rated it 3 stars on Goodreads, so it's clearly like not that bad, but I still just like don't really remember much about it. Like, I couldn't tell you who the killer is, which I guess is good because then we can go back and reread it and not know everything. I can remember like 2 key points in the plot, and that's literally it. So yeah, I'm sorry, it's going in I don't know at all. Next up, let's pop in Murder on the Orient Express, which I'm actually going to go with very few of us are what we seem, because while I didn't see some of the twists coming, I don't know, it just didn't blow me away, and I feel like it's very overhyped. In my personal opinion, I'm sorry, but it's not one of my favourites, and I have a very pretty edition, like, don't get me wrong. It wasn't anything too special. Like, it didn't blow me away, and it was good. It was good, don't get me wrong, but nothing worthy, you know? And it's just, yeah, it was just like a nice little Poirot. I did really enjoy it, but yeah, like I keep saying, it wasn't anything spectacular. Then we have N or M, which was the first Tommy and Tuppence book I ever read, which I read after watching the TV adaptation, and I do have the TV adaptation cover as the image. I do love Tommy and Tuppence. I've read 2 of their sort of stories now, so N or M, I think I'm going to pop it in. Very few of us are what we seem. I love Tommy and Tuppence and their dynamic together, and the way they like bounce off each other. It was very interesting, but it didn't blow me away. Very similar to Murder on the Orient Express. It was a fun time. I have fond memories of it, but it didn't blow me away. But I do want to read more Tommy and Tuppence. Moving on to Ordeal by Innocence, and I'm going to put that also in very few of us are what we seem. Very, like, I was going to say mid. It was still good, and I really like the adaptation of this as well, which I actually watched beforehand, which made me pick up the book. And yeah, I just had a fun time reading it. The ending is very different, I remember. It's very different from the TV adaptation, so if you have seen it and you're like, I don't want to read it because I know how it ends, you don't know how it ends. It's different from the TV adaptation. But yeah, it was a fun time, and I love the family, and I love how it comes together, and like the doctor in it, and it was really fun. But yeah, I sort of forget that I've read it sometimes. Like if I think of all the Agatha Christie's I've read, it isn't one of the first ones that jump to my mind, but I do remember really enjoying it. Then we have Partners in Crime. Okay, so I'm not too sure about this one, so maybe I should just put it in I don't know at all, because I can't really remember some of the stories. Like some of them really have stuck out, and I think it's really clever the way that they kind of like had hints of other crime and like detective novelists at the time, and even one of them kind of like mimicked Poirot in a way. So that was interesting and fun to read, and I think it was a very just fun short story collection. But yeah, I just didn't blow me away. I don't know at all, and that's what's frightening the life out of me. So then we have Peril at End House, and I'm going to put that in Very Few of Us Are What We Seem. It was good. I quite enjoyed it, but like I said with a couple of others, they're not ones that jump to my mind when I think of all the Agatha Christie books I've read. I do like how in this one, Poirot is there before anything happens. He's like, I think you're gonna die. But that's not a spoiler, by the way. That is just a summary of the plot. But it just, yeah, it didn't massively blow me away. Plus, my rabbit ate this copy. He like chewed some of the cover, so I should be more annoyed at the rabbit than the book for that. But anyway, Sad Cypress. I'm probably going to chuck in I don't know at all. I can't actually remember much about this one, so that's also my bad. There's a couple that I read a while ago that I can't really remember much about. I'm sorry. Yeah, so Sad Cypress, I can't really remember much, so I can't really give you a summary, which is why it's in I don't know at all. Then we have Sparkling Cyanide, and I'm putting this in tea, Bless Ordinary Everyday Afternoon Tea, because I remember loving this. I read this is one of my first Agatha Christie's that I ever read. Like it was maybe about my third or fourth. And I remember my grandma giving it to me for like Christmas or my birthday. And I think it was my grandma or a family relative anyway. And I just had a fun time reading it, and I tend to really like the mysteries that aren't like Poirot, Tommy Tuppence, Miss Marple. Don't get me wrong, my favourites are, what is this hair doing? Some of my favourites are from them, but like some of the standalone like mysteries, general mysteries, are top tier. So that's one of them. Not quite top tier, but you know, nearly there. Then we have the ABC Murders, and I think that's another one that's going to go in Very Few of Us Are What We Seem. This is another one that I watched TV adaptation for first, and it was good, but I think I was a bit lost at one point. I don't know if I was in the TV adaptation or the book, but I definitely think that the David Suchet adaptation is a better adaptation of the book. Like it's more accurate, whereas the BBC like 3-part adaptation wasn't as good as like a representation of the plot line. But the book was really good, and the David Suchet adaptation was good. I just didn't blow me away. It's not a standout Agatha Christie for me, but it was a fun time. Then we have the Big Four. This is the one we're on about straight in. Why shouldn't I hate her? Why shouldn't I hate her? You tell me. This is probably the worst book of Agatha Christie I have ever read. It's the only one that's disappointed me. But I will let her off because it was written as like parts in a newspaper, so they were meant to be written in separate parts. It wasn't written as a full novel, it just got published as one later. Yeah, it was not the best, but I'm glad I read it. But I'm glad I found it in a charity shop and didn't buy it full price, which is rare for me to say about an Agatha Christie. I'm just saying. Now we're on to The Body and the Library, The Body in the Library, which is the only Miss Marple I've actually read. I have read the Marple short stories that came out like last year, the 12 new stories. However, I haven't included that because it wasn't Agatha Christie who wrote it. I also didn't include the Sophie Hannah Poirot continuations that I've read because obviously that was Sophie Hannah. But Body in the Library, I'm going to put Very Few of Us Are What We Seem, because I remember it being good, and I can remember the setting, and I did really love falling in love with Miss Marple for the first time, and it was a nice introduction to her, and I definitely obviously want to pick up more. I was going to say more from her, more about her, and yeah, The Body in the Library was a good start. I think it was a nice mystery. The Last Seance, I don't know at all. This is a short stories that are kind of like tales of the supernatural. It was alright. I was expecting to be a bit more scared. I don't know why I had such high expectations, but I wasn't really that scared, and some of them weren't even like supernatural tales. Like I was expecting them to all be like ghost or like horror stories. There was a few that were like ghosty, the others were just like kind of just mysteries. I remember a few of them being like just general literal mysteries and nothing to do with ghosts at all, so I was a bit like, I thought this was just like a ghost collection. But I mean, if they needed to bulk up the book with some other short stories, that's fine. But on the whole, I think I just gave it 3 stars. It wasn't amazing, but like I said, I don't dislike any Agatha Christie books apart from the big 4, so we move. Okay, so the next one, it's not a book, but she did write it and I did go see it, and that is The Mousetrap, which is currently in London, and it's the longest running play ever. It's been there 70 years. I think this year it's going to hit its 71st anniversary, and it was just, and I highly recommend, if you like Agatha Christie, if you like mysteries, if you just like theatre and plays in general, just go see Mousetrap. I think it's going on a tour soon to celebrate the 70th anniversary, so definitely check it out if you can. And I'm putting it straight up in, everyone said follow your heart. I did, it got broken because I didn't call the twists. I saw this in April, so yeah, the very start of April, so about a month and a half ago now, so it's still very fresh in my mind. Okay, just it was fun, it was such a fun time, but don't go into it with any expectations. Just go into it thinking you're off to see an Agatha Christie play. I just really enjoyed it and had such a fun time, and yeah, I just didn't call any of the twists. I mean, there was a couple of things where I was like, I know this. In the interval, me and my mum and dad were like discussing theories, and I was like, did you see this? Because I know this is going to happen because of this, this and this. And then it was just all wrong. So it was just such a fun time, especially with the interval break where you could like be like, what are your theories? But yeah, I highly recommend seeing The Mousetrap. The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. Now, do I put this in top tier or T less ordinary? It's got to be top tier, because when I read it I came away thinking like, what the heck have I just read? It was a favourite for such a long time. It was probably like my second or third Agatha Christie I've ever read. I read it in like 2017, so it really like stuck with me because I did not see the twist coming. If you know, you know. Agatha Christie, she does it again. I just had a fun time reading this, and I definitely want to go back and reread this at some point in the future. But yeah, I just have such fond memories of this book. I apologise. I know some people nowadays would probably call the twist, and I probably would have had more of an idea of the twist if I reread it again now. Well, obviously I would, but like if I read it now after reading so many Agatha Christie's and other mysteries, because this was really at the start of my mystery kick before I properly got into the genre. So if I read this now for the first time, maybe I would have guessed it. But I think she did it first. Like, a lot of books nowadays use this trope. I don't know how to explain it without giving stuff away. But anyway, top tier, because it blew my mind when I read it as like a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, whenever I read it. Then we have The Mysterious Affair at Files, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, and I'm going to put in Very Few of Us Are What We've Seen. This is her first ever book, the first Poirot. I really loved it for the sense that it introduced Poirot really well, and I just loved going back to where it started. I read this in 2021, I think it was, summer of 2021 on the beach, and yeah, it was pretty good, but it didn't like blow me away. But I guess it was at the start of Agatha's writing career. 4 more left. The Mystery of the Blue Train. I'm going to put in, I don't know at all, because this is the first Agatha Christie I ever read. I literally went to the library as like maybe like 14 years old and just saw that she had loads of books on the shelf, like in the mystery crime section. There was loads of Agatha Christie's, and I was like, oh well, she must be good if she's got that many books published. Like, never actually heard of her, even though I'd seen like Poirot adaptations on TV. Like, I didn't connect. Anyway, so I picked it up, and that's my first Agatha Christie, and I haven't looked back. So while it should probably be higher for like sentimental reasons, the actual mystery itself, no, actually I'm putting it up in Very Few of Us Are What We've Seen, because I just really enjoyed it, actually, looking back, because clearly it's what kick-started my Agatha Christie love. You know, it clearly did something right to keep me here, so it's going to stay there in Very Few of Us Are What We Seem, and I don't care that the mystery isn't the best. Agatha actually says that this is her worst work. Like, she has said that The Mystery of the Blue Train is the worst book she ever wrote. However, it has a fond place in my heart. 3-act tragedy. Okay, Very few of us are what we seem. I was going to put it in higher, but actually I watched a video of someone talking about it and they just made some points and I was like, actually, yeah, they're very valid. But I did think it was a fun read. I was in a bit of a slump when I picked it up. I think it was earlier this year or at the end of last year? Anyway, fairly recently, and it just, yeah, no, it was this year, I think. And I just had a fun time with it. Like, it was just what I needed in that moment. And while yes, it's not perfect and it's by no means her best work, but it brought me out of a slump and I just had a good time reading it. I have fond memories. How many times have I said that I have fond memories? Then okay, so this one's kind of cheating. Unfinished Portrait, which is her writing as Mary Westmacott. I'm currently reading it and I'm only 102 pages in, but I wanted to include it because straight up there. I already know it's gonna be 5 stars. Everyone said follow your heart. I did. It got broken. My heart's gonna get broken in this. It's gonna get torn apart. I am loving it at this moment, but I'll talk about that more in my wrap up for May. But I just know it's gonna stay up there, you know. It's gonna get 5 stars from me and I'll be gutted if it doesn't, because I was talking to a friend last night and when I was reading it, could not put it down. I literally had to force myself to stop to go to bed at like 11 p.m. because I was like, I need to get up early for work. I just know I'm gonna love it and I'm now gonna want to pick up all of Agatha's works as Mary Westmacott. I think there's only 6, but you best believe I'll be buying them shortly. I just wanted to do a quick little check-in because I did finish this, like it's the next day. I finished this morning and I did give it 5 stars and it is rightfully at the top tier. It definitely broke me. Like, this one has broken me the most and I loved it and I'll talk about it in my wrap up. And then finally we have Witness to Prosecution. So the cover I've included is Witness to Prosecution and Other Stories. However, I've only read Witness to Prosecution because I listened to it as an audiobook as a short story on its own. Like, the audiobook I listened to was just The Witness to Prosecution. But I have the physical copy of the, like, and other stories too. I just haven't read them yet and I'm sorry, but we're gonna chuck it in. I don't know at all, purely for that reason. The Witness to the Prosecution was a fun time, a fun read, very short but still felt really like as its own mystery. However, I couldn't judge the rest of the book because I've only read that first short story, and there we have it. There we have it. That's my entire list. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't know, it feels like I've read more. Like, it doesn't look like very many pictures. I tried to be quite harsh on the books because, to be honest, apart from the big 4, none of them have ever gotten less than 3 stars, which is quite good for me, and half those 3 stars on Goodreads are 3.5 stars. So I tried to be harsh just to balance it out a bit more, but I think a few more probably could go in Tea Bless Ordinary Everyday Afternoon Tea. Like, Parallel End House probably could get bumped up. Murder in the Orient Express, Evil Under the Sun probably could get bumped up because they are ones I gave 4 stars. However, I tried to be harsh. I tried to be a bit like more level-headed, and not just let my love for Agatha Christie like derail my thoughts. But there we have it. How was that 27 minutes? Okay, on that note then, I think we should just wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching it, especially if you made it all the way to the end, because I really appreciate that. I had so much fun doing this video and I definitely want to do more in the future, tier ranking books that I've read, so let me know if you want to see that. I don't know. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this and getting to the end. I shall see you soon with a brand new video. Bye!